So after we started talking, I could tell, his whole mood changed on the roof. I think the worst feeling as a roofer is when you're meeting with an adjuster and you just know, like, deep down, this roof is not going to get approved. And that happened a lot of times in the early days as a company. Obviously, we're trying to make money. We're trying to, build the brand, build the company. And so I remember this one job, boss had a lot on his plate, and he decided to give me this kind of like larger roof in this really, really nice neighborhood. And it was like one of the first leads I'd even gotten, because he was like, you know what, you've proven you can sell, you've proven you can go out and kind of close these deals. So he's like, why don't you go out and take a stab at this? And I show up to the neighborhood, and very nice lady, we get to talk, and I probably spent 2 hours with her. And I took a look at her roof, and I was like, well, it's older, and it's got some damage on it, but I didn't really know deep down if it was a 100% chance it was going to get approved. I think in my head I was like maybe like 70% positive that we can get this approved. She had a decent insurance company. That was the only thing she really had going for her. And so the day for the adjustment comes, and we get up there, and adjuster's kind of looking around, and he's like, okay, he's like, there's some damage here, there's some damage here. And but we'd probably been up there 20-25 minutes before he started really marking up anything. He was looking really hard to kind of find anything that he considered damage. And so at one point I could kind of tell that he was from Eastern Europe. I had spent some time over there, and I could kind of tell his accent was very familiar. So I just asked him, I was like, hey, where are you from, man? I was like, I can't really, tell exactly where you're from. And he's like, man, I'm from Romania. And just so happened that I had been visiting Romania for the past few years, once a year, to kind of meet with some friends I had over there. And so I was like, wow, this is insanely lucky. So I started talking, and I asked him what city he was from, and what kind of traditions and all that stuff, and kind of food he liked from his country. And so we started talking, and I even knew a little bit of the language too. I can hardly remember what I said to him up there, but I knew some phrases, and I could see like his eyes kind of lit up, and he was just happy to talk to somebody from his, that felt like it was from his home country. Even though I was just, white American kid, I could make him somewhat feel like he was at home. And he told me he was a native. He grew up there. He'd only moved to America for, about 5 or 10 years before. I don't remember how long it was. And so after we started talking, I could tell, his whole mood changed on the roof. And so he starts going back to all the slopes he had already looked at, and if he only found 3 or 4 damaged shingles, well, now he was finding 5, 6, 7, 8. He started really kind of circling up the stuff that was kind of on the edge of being, wear and tear or storm damage. And by the time we got off the roof, he was like, you know what, man? He's like, I don't do this a lot, but I think I'm gonna write this for an approval. He's like, I still got to send it up to management and all that good stuff, but he's like, he's like, I can tell you're new, which at the time I was. I was probably only been doing it about 6 months, and he was like, in the future, you usually don't want to, open claims on roofs like this, but he's like, I'm going to kind of let you get away with one today. So I guess I learned that day just to be very resourceful, use all your knowledge you can when you're meeting with adjusters, and it may just work out in your favor. So but that's all I got today, guys. Thanks for watching.